What's going on, everybody? Buzz here, and I'm excited to be bringing you today's Outriders build guide. And the concept for this one actually started with comments that I was reading on my previous uploads from players that aren't yet at CT15 gold clear status. And the gist of their comments went something along the lines of this. You know, I see all these build guides for CT15 content, and they all seem to feature the absolute best gear and mods. But what about those of us that don't have all of those items just yet? I mean, I wouldn't be on YouTube searching for a CT15 build guide if I was already at CT15 and able to clear that content. You know what? I totally understand that argument, and that is why I am bringing you this no-luck Techno build, as it features no legendary gear or weaponry and absolutely zero tier 3 mods. And as you will see, it is more than capable of clearing CT14 and CT15 content. But before we begin today's video, in case you haven't yet smashed that sub button for more intensive Outriders content, please do so. And don't forget to ring the bell to receive all future upload notifications from my channel. Alright, let's begin. Let's dive right in, and I am using the Technomancer class because I've been playing it a lot recently and it pairs very nicely with this build concept. Techno basics include freeze melee, healing for inflicting damage, increased long range damage, and skill and weapon leech. Now quickly moving up into the skill tree, and nothing out of the ordinary here, you want to take the BR8 impact amplifier for more weapon damage. At the branch in the tree, actually take both, Suction Module and Sower of Decay for more weapon leech and reduced skill cooldowns on the Blighted Turret and Twisted Rounds. Moving on, and you want to go for Drill Coating and the Enhanced Armor Piercing, and then head straight downwards for Havoc Nexus and the increased critical damage. Keep heading straight down to Exposing Toxin for the major node that applies Vulnerable status every time you inflict Toxic. And remember that Vulnerable places a damage modifier on your targets so that they will take increased damage. While we're down here in this portion of the skill tree, let's also grab Marked for Execution to really crank up the Vulnerable Affliction and make it 40% more effective. Let's jump now back up into the main portion of the Pestilence tree and grab Nitrogen Capsules to decrease the distance considered long range by 3 meters. Again, we will take the Impact Amplifier for more weapon damage, and again, Nitrogen Capsules for the same effects as the previous point we spent. Also, while here, grab Purge for even more damage against targets afflicted with Toxic. Another point spent for Impact Amplifier and even more weapon damage, and here is where I went upwards and took the major node of Assault Master for the 20% assault weapon damage increase. Now, if you wanted to pair this with a sniper rifle, you would of course take the specific node instead of this one. Moving on, grab Assault Adept for more assault weapon damage. Based on your build, grab the Sniper Adept below it if you're using a sniper weapon, and then we are into Drill Coating again for another 10% armor piercing. Next, go straight down and grab Two Sides of the Power, which is actually a nightmare mod in that it increases your damage dealt by 20%, but also has a negative side effect in that you will take 15% increased damage from all sources. Now, since we are embracing this full glass cannon philosophy as much as possible, this is the node to unlock. Next, grab Sharpshooter for 30% more long-range damage, UT14 Clips for a decent 50% increased mag size, and then head to the bottom side of the fork in the tree and grab Purge again for more damage versus targets inflicted with Toxic. And finally, you will need to take Empowering Antenna for the increased weapon damage by 40% for 10 seconds for activating a DK skill such as the Blighted Rounds or the Blighted Turret, both of which we will be using with this build. Moving on to the weaponry, and I really only use one weapon with this build, and it is the Earthborn Renegade's Assault Rifle, which is the assault rifle you get as part of the Hell's Rangers download pack, and it already comes with an incredible tier 2 weapon mod, Bone Shrapnel, and this mod differs from its tier 3 counterpart in that I just need to get the killing blow for it to proc versus the tier 3 landing a critical strike. Now, I've played around with different tier 2 mods and I seem to come back to Death Chains for the extra damage over time and the crowd control effects, as the chains will temporarily slow down rushers and give me just enough time to land those shots. At this point in the build, you're probably thinking I have some sort of legendary gear up my sleeve, but again, you are absolutely wrong. Every piece of gear I have equipped on this build was either found at a basic vendor, such as in Rift Town, or from some of those farmable hunts. Now, what I was specifically looking for was gear with bonus firepower, close range, and long range damage, and then I would take those few pieces over to Dr. Zahidi and improve the rarity until I found a set that would meet my requirements. First up is the mask with Toxic Piercer and Crit Stack. Now, Toxic Piercer increases the effectiveness of my Toxic by 20% because that is how much armor piercing I have stacked onto this build, while Crit Stack builds after landing critical shots and adds a large firepower bonus to my build for 5 seconds and can stack up to 5 times. The upper body armor is again bonus firepower, close and long range damage, along with Plate Piercer and Emergency Stance. Now, Plate Piercer increases my critical damage by 10%, as that is exactly 50% of my armor piercing percentage, and this mod I was a bit unsure of, but whatever, it works. Emergency Stance should be the first survivability mod you place onto your build, as it seems to be broken and it constantly procs and then just stays active, so don't miss out on this one. The lower body armor is not quite right because I really wanted short range damage in place of cooldown reduction, but we go with what we have. Mods on this piece include Toxic Lead, which is really important for this build, along with Damage Absorber. Toxic Lead gives me back 40% of my ammo into the magazine for killing a target afflicted with Toxic, while Damage Absorber is essentially a ton of free armor with no requirements to proc it. The gloves are the same as the other gear pieces, bonus firepower, close and long range damage, along with spare mag and radical therapy. Now, since we are not always going to get the fastest kills with this build, mainly due to not using any tier 3 mods, having a spare mag of blighted rounds to reload with is clutch. Now, radical therapy pairs nicely with this build and gives us another 15% damage versus targets afflicted with Toxic. And finally, my boots again have bonus firepower, close range, and long range damage, along with Bloodlust and Dum Dum bullets. Bloodlust rewards you with landing kill shots with huge firepower bonuses and can stack up to 3 times. Dum Dum bullets gives us a flat 10% bonus while using an assault rifle. And now quickly onto the skills, Blighted Rounds, Blighted Turret, and Cold Snap, which are all pretty standard for the DPS Techno setup. Now both the Blighted skills give us another 40% weapon damage for 10 seconds each time we activate them, and both skills afflict targets with Toxic. Cold Snap is great for keeping huge rushing mobs in check, so you can either drop them in succession or just retreat to a better position. And so there's this entire build and explanations for everything that I have chosen to equip. Now, using this exact build, I am able to solo both CT14 and CT15 content, and the idea here is that you want to use the build the way it is until you are able to finally source those tier 3 mods you want, and then recalibrate your gear to include them. And just so you know, the mods I would look for would be Killing Spree on your primary weapon, along with Captain Hunter, Kingslayer, Euthanizer, and Sharp Eye on your gear, as these mods will take this capable build and push it to insane levels of damage output. If you have any questions on this build or just want to leave a comment, I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section below. In case you haven't yet smashed that sub button for intensive Outriders content, please do so. And don't forget to ring the bell to receive all future upload notifications from my YouTube channel. If you would be so kind as to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch for weekly streams, join my community Discord server, and of course, find me over on Twitter, posting on most things gaming related. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.